And we're live. Welcome back to another episode on the Windsor Wednesday show. And for those watching, each week we bring faculty, students, alumni, and staff members on the show to talk a little bit about their University of Windsor story and to give advice for incoming students. So thank you for joining us today. We have a great lineup. It's going to be awesome. So we have on the top right, we have Rob Janisse, Alumni Coordinator, Special Projects at the University of Windsor. And he's also an alumnus who graduated from the Bachelor of Arts in History program. So thanks for joining us, Rob. Down below, we have Ryan Donally. Ryan is an alumnus who graduated with an MBA and Bachelor of Commerce degree. Currently is the Manager of Investment and Corporate Marketing at WindsorEssex Economic Development Corporation. And he's also a former professional hockey player. So thanks for joining, Ryan. And Zion down below is a liberal arts and professional studies student minoring in sociology and communications, and is also a varsity athlete on the Lancers track and field team. So we have a great lineup today, and we're each going to be going roundtable style and sharing a little bit about what the University of Windsor means to us. So we'll start with Rob on the top. The first question is, share what the University of Windsor means to you in 10 words or less. We'll have you go ahead, Rob.
Well, thanks for having me, Lyndon, and great to be on the show today. The question, share what the university means to you in 10 words or less, it's a loaded question to keep to a short answer. But for me, the university is a place of discovery and purpose, growth and impact. And it's a place where students can really discover who they are and find their passions and how they can kind of turn those into impact, both locally and in the community. So, I could expand and go on that a little bit more, but, it's really a place, I think, to grow as a student and further on into your career when you're an alumnus of the University of Windsor.
Excellent. And Rob, I do have to ask, with your role as an alumni coordinator, how have you grown throughout this role? You were a student, and now you're working in the alumni department. What are some ways that you've grown while working at the University of Windsor?
Yeah, it's a great question, Lynn. And I think for me, I've been able to kind of see it come full circle. I spent, 4 years as a student on campus studying in the Faculty of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences. And then I kind of went off in my career and did a few other things. But since being back on the university, it's been a really good opportunity for me to see the impact that alumni can have on campus, in the community and with the students here that are Lancers. So, that to me has been able to show me how we can grow, and when you leave the university, how you can continue to make an impact after, you've graduated. Whether that's providing, mentorship opportunities for students that are on campus, making a donation to support a student cause or a program on campus. It's really helped me kind of bring everything full circle as a University of Windsor Lancer, now as an alumnus and an employee on campus as well.
Thank you, Rob. We'll go down to Ryan to share what the University of Windsor means to him in 10 words or less.
All right, 10 words or less. Like Rob, thank you for having me on the show today. I'd say the University of Windsor is a time in your life and a place in your life that helps shape the rest of your life. There's not diving into it, but there's a ton of learning and opportunity that you can undertake in those 4 years that will significantly influence the remainder of your life, and something I'm very proud of my time at the university.
And Ryan, how has the University of Windsor shaped your life?
Wow, it's interesting. Quite frankly, when I started at the University of Windsor, I was 25 years old, starting my undergraduate degree. So the 5 years that I spent in undergrad and MBA there, it completely transformed me from a previous career that you mentioned into a young professional that's prepared to go out and make an impact in the business world. So when you say how does it impact me, I'd say it hasn't even impacted me; it's transformed me. It's something, again, that I'm extremely proud to be a Lancer.
Awesome, thank you. Zion, we'll go down to you. What does the University of Windsor mean to you in 10 words or less?
Like the rest of us, thanks for having us. Great, get to talk about the university and show our Lancer pride. So what University of Windsor means to me in 10 words less, I kind of had education, and you get a family no matter where you're from or your background. From Sarnia, Ontario, from a relatively small city to come down to the university when I was 19, and get to be able to meet people from all over, not only Ontario, but from all over the world, and get to know each other and become one family under the shield.
So Zion, let's talk a little bit about that. You said you came from Sarnia. What was that transition like?
It wasn't as it was a big transition. It was also felt familiar, as Sarnia is also a border town. We're connected to Port Huron, so as it was a city about twice the size of Sarnia, I didn't feel as stranded. So I was able to by the states, everything, and then be able to. We're a pretty homogenous city in Sarnia. We're starting to diversify, but now as Windsor, very, very more ethically diverse. Be able to meet in Cartier residents. My roommate was originally from Venezuela. I have a couple teammates, coworkers, and friends all over the world. So able to sit down and talk with each other about the differences of where each are from and how we grew up, which is a great learning experience as under my first year.
Yes, and I do have to ask, you traveled all the way down from Sarnia. Why did you choose the University of Windsor?
I chose it because our university marketing is great. We have a bunch of signs all over Sarnia to be able to see it. I saw it was a great place to learn. I originally came for human kinetics, but changed my mind and went into this mainstream, or my current educational stream. I was also approached by our then head coach, Richard Johnson, now Colin Inglis, and was able to not only see how amazing academic institution is, but also athletic. So able to get 2 for 1 as further my athletic career and my educational career.
Awesome. Great to hear. Thank you. And before we jump into the next question, if anyone watching does have any questions, feel free to comment them below and we'll try our best to answer them. And moving on to the next question here. This one talks a little bit about preparing for life after university. And we'll start with Ryan. I'm curious to know, what did you do while you were at the University of Windsor to prepare yourself for employment when you did graduate?
Yeah, I think my story is probably a little bit different than the traditional undergrad student that starts, at a 19-year-old like Zion. But the one thing I did, and the one thing I would recommend for others, is be more than your transcripts, academic transcripts. So be involved, get your name out in the community, be prepared. So when you do get that job interview, you can speak to what you've done or accomplished in the 4 or 5 or X amount of years you undertook your undergraduate or graduate programs. So you need to make a brand for yourself. And quite frankly, I'm looking at you, Lyndon, you're doing a tremendous job of that. But you're not going to open the door because you've got a great mark in finance. You're going to open the door because you know people and you've worked hard to build that brand. And when you do get that opportunity to join the working world, you need to be able to speak beyond just the transcript. So, I think I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. And Rob, we'll go over to you. What have you done while you were in school to prepare yourself for life after graduation and getting that employment opportunity?
Yeah, and thanks, Lyndon. I'll probably echo a lot of the same sentiments as Ryan did. And, for me, I was in a program that didn't necessarily have a direct career path associated with it once you graduated. So I realized very early how important it was to really make connections and get involved, whether it's on campus or in the community. Whether that's volunteering on campus, in the community, or joining a club that you're interested in, or even playing an intramural sport like I did, you get the opportunity to build your network, really learn a lot about the different opportunities available to you after graduation, and most importantly, learn a lot about yourself and where you'd like to see yourself at that next stage in your career. So for me, it was kind of like Ryan said, kind of just expanding your portfolio outside of your your marks and your grades and your transcript. And really growing, outside of that in a personal way and building that network. And that's proved to be, the connections that I made while I was on campus as a student, and even working today have been fruitful for myself and allowing me to kind of take those next steps in my career. So.
And Rob, I have to ask, what do you think led to your role as Alumni Coordinator? Was there anything that you did while you were in university as a student to really make your mark and that led you to that role that you're in today?
You know what? It was making connections. I was lucky enough to have a student role on campus while I was studying. I was working in the UWin card office. I'm sure all the students are, if you've studied at the university, you may have even seen me, and I may have produced your card at the time. But just while I was working there, I was able to kind of build connections and really find areas of the university that I might be interested in. Fast forward to earlier in my working career, getting involved in volunteering, community engagement type work, it really kind of showed me and put me down a path of stuff that I was interested in. So I kind of took all of those different experiences and connections that I had. An opportunity came up, and lucky enough, I was able to secure that position, and I couldn't be happier where I'm at right now. And it gives me an opportunity to see that next crop of students and alumni kind of coming up through the ranks, and how I can help them get involved and stay involved on campus and make an impact. So for me, it's the networking and really building those connections, and like Brian said, building your brand and showing people what you're really about and what you're passionate about.
Excellent. And Rob, I do want to touch on this a bit, just because you are the power behind it. The 10,000 Coffees program, this is a great way, I believe, for students to prepare for life after graduation. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Maybe some students watching will be interested in the program.
Absolutely. We talked a lot about networking, mentorship, and the impact that can have on, yourself as a student, or even an alumnus that's able to provide that mentoring to a student or even another alumni of the university. So 10,000 Coffees is an online networking and mentorship platform that it's really an accessible platform for anybody to access. With the current situation that we're in right now, and in the pandemic that we're currently facing, meeting up for a coffee to network with somebody, or meeting in person face to face isn't really that easy nowadays. So this platform kind of makes that opportunity accessible to people via an online platform. So what it does is you set your profile up based on your interests, your skills, what you're looking to offer, and what you're looking to learn. And on a monthly basis, you'll be connected with either an alumni, a student, or somebody that matches those same credentials as you. You'll be matched virtually. And then you can take the conversation from there and learn about each other, learn about your experiences, how one another can help, can help in that next stage. We've seen extremely positive engagement on both the student and alumni side. We have over 1,600 members on the platform right now. So you really have a good chance of meeting somebody that is going to be valuable for you. And as I talked earlier about, the connections that you make within the first 3 months of being on that platform, I've made 3 or 4 connections that I'm still in touch with, have reached out to support me in my role and some of the work that I'm doing, and vice versa. So it's a really good opportunity. It's, like I say, it's 10,000 Coffees platform, and supported by RBC Future Launch. And we're seeing great engagement with it on the campus. So I would suggest anybody who's watching the show today to check it out. Look up UWindsor 10,000 Coffees and join today, and I think you'll enjoy the experience.
Excellent, thank you, Rob. And I definitely have enjoyed it as well, being a student and being able to network with these different industry professionals. It's been awesome. So definitely check it out for those watching. And moving on to the last question for today, for somebody entering their first year of university, what is some advice you could provide them? And Zion, we'll have you go first.
All right. As one who's probably the most recently been in their first year, just some advice is try not to seclude yourself. Try to open your net. It can feel lonely being so far from home, but you'll always have your roommate. You'll start to meet people. Just try to expand your friendship network, and you'll have people there for you. Not only through the university, if you require mental health or health help, but you'll have friends that you can always lean to if you're feeling homesick, and you'll find your own family in Windsor.
Excellent. And I know this is something it's an easy question, I guess, but at the same time, it might be difficult for some students. Zion, how did you first meet somebody at the University of Windsor? How did you take that first step to kind of meet new people? What could be something that students could be doing?
It's a bit different, but when I found out who I was being roomed with, I asked with the residence department, and found him on Instagram, reached out to him, messaged him, got to know each other. Luckily enough, he was going to be trying out the track team, so we got to know each other a lot more through that. So yeah, just if you're able to, able to get in contact with your roommate leading up to move-in day. It's great to get to know them, find out if, like, ideally if they have any allergies, what they like, so you get to know someone. So you're not moving with a total stranger. You're getting to know someone before you move in and start living together.
Excellent. Such a great point. We'll go up to you, Rob. For a student entering their first year of university, what is some advice you could provide them?
Yeah, I think the best advice is kind of twofold. I think, for students entering their first year, you really want to embrace the opportunity, and don't really take it for granted. I mean, time flies. 4 years might seem like a long time, but time really does fly. And I think you want to just embrace the opportunity and the chance to grow as an individual. I would say do something you normally wouldn't do and take some chances and risks. I think that, until you really try something that you haven't done, you don't know if it's something that you'd get into or something that you'd be good at or passionate about. So, not being afraid to take risks or even take a class that you normally wouldn't see yourself taking. I think there's a great opportunity to grow there. And then coming from the alumni perspective, I think it's important for us to kind of let students know, even in their first year, that when you go through those 4 years, it's not over from there. You are part of the University of Windsor Lancer alumni family for a lifetime. And there's tons of opportunity to get involved even after you graduate, as well as on campus, as a student, whether that's volunteering with the Alumni Association at, events or that kind of thing. But just understanding that, you're in this family for life, and there's a lot of benefits and services available to students when they do graduate. Whether that's, funding for reunions or coming back and celebrating Alumni Week in the fall with the rest of the Lancer grads. Just recognizing that the journey is not only 4 years, and it's a lifetime of continuous learning and connection making. So yeah, again, it comes back to bringing it full circle, realizing that it's a lifelong process that the Lancers and university community can kind of help you along with.
Thank you. And Brian, we'll leave you for the last question and the last response. For a student entering their first year of university, what is some advice that you think they should know?
Yeah, I'll kind of give a two-pronged approach, if you will. From the academic side, time management is going to be extremely important. This is your first time kind of away from a structured environment. I mean, high school typically is much more of you got to be here at this certain time, and you go from homeroom to the next class, etc. So focus on time management. If you are having problems, don't hesitate to reach out to your peers, obviously your fellow classmates, but introduce yourself to the professor early on. The professors that work at the University of Windsor are outstanding. They're a tremendous resource and asset for you to help you get through. The goal of professors is not to fail you. The goal is for them to help teach you, right? So getting out there and introducing yourself right up the hop to the professor is pretty important. And then from the life side, if you will, echoing what Rob mentioned, this is 4 years of your life or more or less that you'll cherish forever. Have fun, because realistically in the working world, you're not going to be able to, wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning and stroll into a 1 o'clock class, right? So enjoy every moment of it, explore who you are as a young individual, and just cherish the memories, because they'll go extremely quick.
Yes, thank you, Ryan. And for those watching, I do appreciate your time today and the guests for joining us on the show. We had a great discussion, and we'll see you next week at 12 o'clock on the Windsor Wednesday show. Bye for now.